All right, guys. A lot of people with gearboxes or gear-driven machines, so they have a difficult time removing these, or they get frozen on to the shaft, and they have to break off the gearbox or do some damage to the motor. That's because moisture enters this area here. It gets between the shaft and the gearbox here. Most people want to lather this with grease. That's actually not the right thing to do. Once the grease becomes warm, after time, it starts to solidify and actually attract moisture. Now, this is not only my opinion. This actually comes right from Udor pumps themselves. What you have to do is clean this off real well. If you notice, there's grease here. I put a little bit of grease on the shaft, and I push the gearbox on to determine exactly where this here ends on the shaft, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to clean the shaft off real well. And I'm going to spray this up with a little bit of brake clean to clean all the grease off. And then I have this cap here that I cut the end off. This is all cleaned out in here. We're going to put the cap in, because what I want to do is I want to put grease in here. I don't want to put grease on here, because once I slide it over, it's going to be a big dollop of grease there. Okay, so we're going to put the grease in here, but we're not going to put it for the first inch or so. So this cap here slides in. Okay, and then we're just going to grab some high temperature red grease. Just put it right inside. A little bit more. Don't have to put a lot. Okay, we just want it to slide on. Then we're going to pull the cap off. If you notice, we got a clean area where there's no grease. All right? Take a little brake clean. Spray that up. Take my rag. Wipe it all down. Wipe the keyway area out. And what we're going to do is actually we're going to take some high temperature silicone gasket, like RTV, and we're going to go ahead and put it about an inch in. We're going to coat this shaft, okay? So what happens is when we slide this on, it's going to seal this to here, so no moisture is going to get on the shaft in this area after time. And you can still pull the gearbox off. I mean, there's no reason why, you have some downtime in the winter, not pull these off. You also want hardened keyways. You don't want soft keyways. There's a reason why there's soft keyways and hard ones. You want a hard one. And there's no reason why over the winter time you don't want to, you should break these down. Replace the keyway, redo exactly what we're doing. All right, we're going to show you next. Okay, now we got our little RTV there. This is totally clean. Put the keyway in, tapped it down in place with our little brass mallet. So that's all in. This area here is totally clean because we have the cap on there. Like I said, once we slide this over, it's going to seal this area here. And no matter what, no moisture is going to get between the shaft and the gearbox. Let's go ahead and slide it on. Okay, and we slid our gearbox on. Just snugged up a bolt here and on the opposite side on the bottom. Now, if you look, you can see in there. I'm sure you get a good picture. Boom. Do you see that in there? You see how that shaft is? Let me see if I could. I can't zoom in on this. But let's see here. You see how that silicone is nice around that shaft. What that's going to do, it's going to seal any moisture from entering it. Like I said, slather with grease or anti-seize. This becomes warm. After a while, it starts to work itself out and it attracts moisture, just like brake fluid and other certain lubrications and liquids. Here you can see a better picture of it. See how you got that little seal? And we didn't put much on there. Not enough for it to be impossible to take off. Just enough to seal that from any moisture from getting inside. Like I said, that's not only coming from me. If you call the techs at Udor, and that's why I buy Udor pumps. They're great. Within 2 minutes, you got tech service. You got, nice lady answers the phone, and within 2 minutes, you got tech service on the phone answering any questions you want within a few minutes. And then here, what we're going to do is, next I'll show you what we do to here. Hold on. This is our rear stabilizing plate. This plate here comes on the bottom of this pump, okay? If you notice, the shaft is right here. This thing here is offset, because what happens once we put this plate under, and we also, what we're going to do is we put spacers here. Gets a little airflow under the pump. It also takes up that space there for a rear mount. This stabilizes it. Like I said, this here is just a mock-up. We have our, once we get it all mocked up and set, we transfer this right to our permanent base plate. But that's a little tip here. Also, when we build these out, if you notice, we have all the drains, all the quick drains, and a motor, gearbox, pump, and that's it. It's a trick to keep these gearboxes from freezing onto the motors. All right, guys. Hopefully that helps you out. Keep on spraying.